Arguably, it is one of the most famous alien abduction cases in history. The case of Betty and Barney Hill has yet to be explained by rational means. It remains one of the strongest supported cases in ufology. With the last recorded interview of Betty Hill, she lets the truth be told on Paranormal TV. Tales of alien abductions are a worldwide phenomenon. From Beijing to Brazil, the same scenario seems to be played out again and again. But the first abduction account to make headlines in the United States and then around the world was the strange case of Betty and Barney Hill. September 19th, 1961. The Hills were traveling through the American state of New Hampshire when they spotted what they believed to be a new star. Suddenly, the star seemed to change direction and began to head straight for their car. The late Betty Hill, in her last on-camera interview, tells what happened next.
Now, Barney had been in World War II, so he was sure he was able to identify the craft. So he got out of the car and started walking towards it. And as he did, the craft shifted out over the field. And he suddenly realized that it was something he had never seen before.
When the mysterious craft began to descend, Barney became frightened and rushed back to the car. The Hills tried to drive away, but the UFO followed them. Finally, the couple turned off the highway onto an isolated logging road. The Hills approached what they thought was a roadblock, only to find that the UFO had landed on the ground and the aliens had exited the ship. The next thing both Betty and Barney remember, they were back in their car, driving home. When they arrived, both Hills seemed to have a vague idea that something was not quite right. They were 2 hours late. Although neither one of them could explain it, they seemed to have lost those 2 hours on their trip. It was simply missing time. Over the course of the next 2 years, the couple began to have nightmares, and while awake, confusing, inexplicable scenes played out at the edge of their memories. They decided to try hypnosis, seeking help from Dr. Benjamin Simon, a Boston psychiatrist and neurologist with experience in hypnotherapy.
Dr. Benjamin Simon gave us medical hypnosis, which is different from regular hypnosis. Regular hypnosis is just a retelling of something you remember. But medical hypnosis is removal of amnesia, which is what we had.
Under hypnosis, Barney and Betty Hill began to recount what would come to be enshrined in UFO lore as the seminal abduction account. First, the aliens approached their car, took them out of the vehicle, and along a path in the woods to their spacecraft.
Now, when we were taken inside, the leader, we called him this, because he appeared to be the only one who spoke English, began to question us. He said that he only wanted to do some simple tests to find out how we were like them or different from them. Barney was taken into one room, I was taken into the second room.
Once separated, Betty was subjected to a barrage of tests. The aliens examined her eyes, ears, nose, throat, and hair. Skin samples were taken. Finally, Betty claimed ova were taken from her. Sperm samples were taken from Barney as well. When the aliens had finished their tests, they let the Hills go.
Barney and I walked back to the car, got in the car, and saw this craft become surrounded by a swirling orange-red mass. And then it lifted out of this mass, dipped down, went up, and was gone, out of sight.
One other detail of their abduction experience emerged while under hypnosis. Betty drew what she believed was a star map, a design she had seen while aboard the spacecraft. It took almost 10 years, but a ufologist and amateur astronomer named Marjorie Fish determined that Betty's star map depicted the Zeta Reticuli system. As more people became familiar with the Hills story, an ever-increasing number of alleged abductees began to come forward with their own accounts of alien spaceships, nefarious experiments, and missing time. And it soon became evident that the Hills may not have been the first people abducted by aliens, as the reports go back decades.